Hi guys, we're back. So we're gonna do our history, and today is gonna be a bit funny because we're not going to talk about history about the person. We're going to talk about why the person was killed. I think we talk. I put an option on the. I put a list on our list of topics and why the person was killed. So the moment has arrived for our favorite and most exciting segment of the show, as always, and that is a moment in African history. Here we go. So today we're telling the tale of Shaka Sensankona, Zulu king and founder of the Zulu Empire. I know I just butchered that, but known today by everybody as what? Shaka Zulu, right? Everybody knows Shaka Zulu. So Shaka was murdered by his two half brothers Dingane and Malanga at Kwaduzuga in 1828. But why? Why was he murdered? Huh? Well, settle down and let Bibi tell you. You ready? Here we go. So King Shaka's last words have taken on a prophetic mantle. There's a popular South African Zulu myth that has him telling Dingane and Malangana that it's not they who will rule the Zulu nation, but white people who will come up from the sea. In some other iterations of the myth, it says swallows, white swallows will come from the sea. Same thing, okay? Now, assassination by rivals to the throne is a constant in monarchies throughout history and around the world. Shaka was an illegitimate son of a minor chief, Sensankona, while his half-brother Dingane was legitimate. Shaka's mother, Nandi, eventually was installed as a third wife of this chief, but it was an unhappy relationship, and she and her son were eventually sent away, and they suffered a lot when they were sent away. So Shaka joined the military of the Mthewa, led by Chief Dingiswayo. After Shaka's father died in 1816, Dingiswayo supported Shaka in assassinating his elder brother, Sisijwana, who had assumed the throne. So once he killed his elder brother, Shaka was now the chief of the Zulu, but he was a vassal of Dingiswayo. That means, he was a king, but he was being used by his uncle, Now, Dingiswayo was killed by Zwide, and so Shaka assumed the leadership of the Mthewa state and army, completely no more vassal, now fully king of the Zulu. When Shaka became chief of the Zulus in 1816, the tribe numbered fewer than 1,500 and was among the smaller of the hundreds of other tribes in southern Africa. However, Shaka's power grew as he reorganized the Zulu military system. Now, this is where he comes into history, because everybody knows this about Shaka the Zulu, how his military prowess, what he did, and how he reorganized the entire Zulu military, such that even though they didn't have any guns, they could still fight the British, because he had all the, what's that thing in military parlance, when you arrange your men, the way you arrange your men. Julius Caesar used to do it. What's that? Is a word for it. You arrange them... formations, military formations. He was an expert. He invented the Zulu version of it. He also invented the sword. We'll talk about that. Let's keep going. So he reorganized the Zulu military system. He had ruthless military discipline and incorporated both men and youth into his armies, and he forbade his troops to marry. Shaka proved to be brilliant, forming well-commanded regiments and arming his warriors with assegais. That was it. A new long-bladed short spear that was easy to wield and deadly. That was their thing. So they had the shield, the Zulu shield, they had the assegai, and they had the formation. And with all those things and him at the front, they were ruthless, completely ruthless. So the Zulus rapidly conquered neighboring tribes, incorporating the survivors into their ranks. And by 1823, Shaka was in control of all of present-day Natal. The Zulu conquest greatly destabilized the region and resulted in a great wave of migrations by uprooted tribes. However, he was not in conflict with Europeans in the area at that time. He even allowed some European settlers in the Zulu kingdom. Things changed terribly when Shaka's mother, Nandi, who he loved and had suffered with as a child because they were sent away together, when she died in October 1827, he lost his mind. His grief led to erratic and deadly behavior. He required everyone else to grieve with him and executed anyone he decided was not grieving enough. And he killed as many as 7,000 people for not grieving enough. He ordered that no crops were to be planted, no milk could be used, and he had any pregnant woman executed. Every pregnant one was executed as her husband as well. He sent his armies on extensive military operations, and when they returned exhausted, he immediately ordered them out again. The lesser chiefs had had enough. Shaka's two half-brothers tried more than once to assassinate him, and they were finally successful. The attempt came when most of the Zulu troops had been sent north and security was lax at the royal kraal. After they killed him, Dingane assumed the throne and purged loyalists to Shaka. He then allowed troops to marry and set up a homestead which built loyalty with the military. He ruled for 12 years until he was defeated by his own half-brother and killed in Mpande. And so it continues. That's it, guys. What do you guys think of that? Do you think they should have killed him?
Oh, yeah.
Why? He was a king.
Yeah, a king, but a mad king.
He was, but he was brilliant. Before his mother died, he was brilliant.
Yeah, the thing is, like, at the time they were killing him, he wasn't brilliant anymore.
No. He was still young, though. He wasn't old. He was still young at the time, but he was just killing people. Like, anybody who thought didn't love his mother enough or wasn't grieving enough, he was any pregnant woman, she and her husband, no milk, nothing, don't do anything. And he was such a strong king. Everybody listened. They all like obeyed his orders, and it went on for years. He completely went crazy. I remember watching the movie long, like 20 years ago, and I remember his mother and him, they had this trauma bond. I think it was a trauma bond because they'd gone through so much together, and he went to her for all his advice and everything. He was so close to her that when she died, I think he thought she was like, he thought she was, what's the word, immortal, like she was never going to die and all that. And so when she died, he just like, he couldn't handle it. His sister was a strong character as well, and she always thought she should have been king, except if she wasn't a female. That the only reason why she wasn't king was because she was female, because she was a very strong character. She was always mocking him, that he wasn't strong enough, that she should have been king. He had a whole lot going on mentally, I think, King Shaka. But we cannot remove from him things he contributed to the Zulu kingdom, how he made their numbers increased under his leadership, and how, he brought his military till now. I mean, from now, for a small group of people who became a larger group of people, and the fact that we're still talking about his military prowess, 100 years later, more than 100 years later, we're still talking about everything he achieved in his military prowess. That's incredible. So he did do, great things. He just... Yeah, okay. Serena, do you have any opinions about... Do you know about Shaka Zulu? Do you know anything about Shaka Zulu? I don't want to call him Shaka Zulu. His name is not Shaka. His name is Shaka the Zulu. What do you think about what he contributed to military... to the military, to fighting and all of that, and what he did for his people? What do you think about it? Come on, let's hear your voice. Come on, Serena. Anything at all? No? Nothing? She's like, she has a therapy smile on. Like, ta-da. Anyway, Alex, what do you think? Had you heard about Shaka Zulu before today?
No.
No.
No idea. But he reminds me of some kind of Alexander the Great for African variant.
You never heard of Shaka Zulu?
No.
Oh, he's like one of our that guy.
So
he's that guy.
It's the African Alexander the Great. The African
more or less.
More
or less. But it's very controversial because these people fought the British and the Boers and the Germans and the Dutch without guns. That's one of the greatest things that these South African tribes achieved in history. The fact that they fought these people based on their actual physical prowess, and they actually won battles.
Really?
I mean, eventually they were taken over. But the fact that they kept the British on their toes, like proper, without guns, and then eventually when they got guns, the guns were all like fake and the rubbish. But they were using their physical, mental prowess, fighting, ambushing, using their swords and spears, and the British, they couldn't handle it. They couldn't believe that they were not winning all these battles. Historically, it's crazy that the way they put up a fight, for their land. At first they welcomed the Europeans, thinking, "Oh, visitors, friends, come on in, no problem." And then guys are like, "No, we want to take over everything." Like, no. Yeah, we're laughing about it, but it was not funny. Anyway, that's it. That was it. Right, we're gonna go straight into Proverbs and then into tongue twisters. We didn't talk about Will Smith today. We'll talk about him next week. It'll be old news by next week. We'll also talk about it next week. Okay? All right.
It was staged.
Oh, no, it wasn't staged. Right, I'm going to read out what I wrote. Okay, quickly, before we do the Proverbs. What I wrote about, I've been seeing people going back. I said, if a person acts completely out of their character, should grace not be extended to that person? While we are rightfully judging Will Smith for what he did on Sunday, do we not remember that for decades and for years, he's been a consummate and kind gentleman? And now that he's acted completely out of his character, don't we think something else is going on? I believe a lot of us are judging him based on two things. Number one, we don't like the way he and Jada have conducted their open marriage, and so we're extending that animosity to him for defending her so publicly. Number two, him being publicly violent has kind of shattered and disappointed a lot of people who looked up to him, and so we're lashing out. However, if we look beneath the surface of things and go a little deeper, shouldn't we actually be more worried about him than anything? And that's basically, and P.S. I think Will had reached his breaking point, and I don't think Chris Rock is completely innocent here either. So that's my opinion. Serena, do you have any opinion? Or you want to talk about it next week? Yeah, next week. We'll talk about it next week. Alex, you okay with talking about it next week? All right, cool. Okay, African proverbs. Why do we say proverbs? We say proverbs because it's the way we talk. Most cultures around the world have proverbs and like proverbs and use proverbs, but Africans use it in a more different way because we use it to share ideas, opinions, pepper our sentences, give wisdom to the next generation, and it's very, very important to us. And all African tribes have their different proverbs. So I have three this week. So number one, we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children. We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children. Number two, no person is born great. Great people become great when others are sleeping. No person is born great. Great people become great while others are sleeping. And number three, not everyone who chased the zebra caught it, but he who caught it chased it. Got it? You got to be in it to win it. You got to have skin in the game, and so on and so forth. Not everyone who chased the zebra caught it, but he who caught it chased it. And those are our proverbs for the week. And next we're going to Italy. We're also on our campaign to destroy Serena and catch her out. Okay, so this week we're trying again. And I'm not even going to try. You're going to do the whole thing because I'm not going to try. And I think I'm finally going to get you. So let me see if I can try. No, I'm not going to try. Serena, you go for it.
Why are you not going to try? You're scared.
I'm so bad with tongue twisters.
Oh, generally. But then for like native English speakers, the GL.
Oh, that's for me. It's fine.
Yeah.
Lee.
Yeah, because that's usually a hard one.
Guglielmo.
Yeah,
Guglielmo. Okay, go for it.
Wait, I need to read it. Okay, I'll just read it slowly because I don't want to stay in silence.
Slowly first,
yeah.
And then
okay. Guglielmo coglie ghiaia dagli scogli, scagliandola oltre gli scogli tra mille gorgogli.
Okay. Sounds good.
I'll do it one more time. Guglielmo coglie ghiaia dagli scogli, scagliandola oltre gli scogli tra mille gorgogli. Okay. Guglielmo coglie Guglielmo coglie.
Aha! We got her.
No. Wait. Also, this is my first read. Can I just say?
Yes.
So, if I take it home next week, I can do it quickly. Guglielmo coglie ghiaia dagli scogli, scagliandola oltre gli scogli tra mille gorgogli.
Very good. Very, very good.
Yeah.
Alex, you want to try?
Why not?
Okay, go for it. Yeah. So GLI is Lee.
That's some hard stuff. Guillermo Golegaia dalle scole scagliondola oltre gli scoli 3000 gorgioli. Something like that.
That's not that bad, actually.
No, it's not. Let me try because
now you have to.
Tongue twisters, I'm not good at. Everybody knows that. Okay. Guglielmo coglie Gaia dagli scogli scagliandola oltre gli scogli tra mille gorgogli.
Grazie.
No?
Yeah.
Terrible? I'm so bad. I'm so bad. I don't even give up. I know I'm bad in tongue twisters, so. Guys, that's our show for the week. We're done. We had a great time. We did hot topics today. We talked about our friend and beloved friend in South Africa who's going through it right now. She's going 5 years in jail through no fault of her own. She was given money and she spent the money and now she's in big trouble.
She didn't even manage to spend the money properly.
She was going to go for it. If you're going to go for it, like you say in Africa, another proverb is, if you're going to eat a frog, eat a big frog, right? If you must do something bad, go all in. Don't do it half. So she spent like 200,000 bucks, and I would have known like she was serious. Anyway, so she's going through, hopefully, she doesn't go to jail. I don't think she should go to jail. We talked about the UN, and we talked about the Amazon South African headquarters being put on hold for now because of a court order, because it was meant to be built on ancestral lands. We talked about the head of the ILO is the first black head of the ILO now, and Hungo is from Togo. We talked about the fact that African leaders do not really want to give any strong opinions about Russia and Ukraine right now. They're kind of being neutral about it, and why. We discussed that. We also talked about Francis Kere, the first black winner of the Pritzker Prize in Architecture, and his work and just the amazing things he's done. We talked about, what was it about? Yeah, the Benin Bronzes. We had nothing to say about that because we said everything we need to say about that. The saga continues. And finally, our history moment, which we loved, was Shaka Zulu and why he was assassinated by his two half-brothers. Okay, and Alex found out about Shaka. Alex didn't know about Shaka before today. Shocking. What did they teach you in Bulgaria? What did they teach you in Bulgaria?
A lot of random stuff, but not that.
And that was, but not about Shaka.
Next week, I'm gonna know everything about Shaka. I'm
Good.
gonna know more about
Good.
every African out there. I'm gonna know.
That's a big one to do in a week. Go watch Shaka the Zulu. I think there's an old movie from the 80s or so. Shaka the Zulu. It was great. Oh my God. And that's it. I think Grace Jones was in that one. That's it. So guys, that's our show. We had a great time. We'll see you next week. And we have some amazing guests next week. So just stay tuned. In the meantime, I'll be back. This is BB signing off. I'll be back again with more exciting interviews, spotlights, history, music, and everything in between. Until then, stay proudly Bulgarian, Italian, Kenyan, Nigerian, and in general, African.